Hello, it's me, screaming into the void, 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 void. So I just watched Venom 3. I know a lot of people didn't like it. I adored it. Listen, for me to like a movie, you don't always have to have a comprehensive storyline, okay? And in Venom 3, the storyline was definitely all over the place. But was it fun to watch? Yes. Was there a dance scene with Venom and the old Asian lady? Was there wonderful banter between him and... Wow, I am so prepared right now.
You don't say.
I just started talking about Venom 3 and... it's not even called Venom 3, it's called Venom The Last Dance.
Bruh.
Also, fun fact, there is... I think there's 2 actors from Ted Lasso playing in this movie, and there is 3 actors that are British playing Americans. Again, I liked it, okay? Get yourself some really good actors to play in a really bad plotline. Thank you, Sony, for not giving Sometimes I feel like Sony is like this kid with that lollipop that the mom says that he needs to share, but he doesn't want to. It just keeps holding on to it. For whatever reason. So yeah, Venom 3 was a lot of fun. I loved it. It's basically about Tom Hardy losing his shoes the entirety of the movie through. Was it fun to watch? Yes, it was. Because it started with Crocs. And then it just escalated from there. Okay? And who would have thought that Crocs can break if a dog bites at it?
Well.
And it was just... I don't know. The banter was fun. I enjoyed the horse part. There is one scene where Venom takes over a horse and Tom Hardy, Eddie Brock kind of, rides behind him, on him. There is a reason why this romance is a little deeper, okay? Did I cry in the end? Yes, I did. Okay, I did. I was very sad. No spoilers yet. I will put you through the entire misery of the entire movie, okay? So it starts with Eddie being in Mexico in a bar with Venom and just completely ruining a bartender's night because Venom wants to drink. And Eddie Brock, Tom Hardy, is having a hangover, the longest hangover. And the hangover lasts as long as the movie, I feel. The same as the plotline of his shoes. Okay? His hangover and the loss of his shoes in this movie seem to go hand in hand very well together, just like Eddie Brock and Venom do. So it starts there, and then they get tracked by a xenophage. Xenophages. Anyway, so they have 2 different problems, right? Because on one hand, people think that he murdered... So, on one hand, people think that he murdered Patrick Mulligan. And that makes him like a fugitive. That's why it's in Mexico. On the other hand, you have the xenophage who's tracking him because they find out later in the movie that they are the solution to some creature being able to Knull? Yeah. Knull, the creator of the symbiotes, to retrieve a codex. So anyway, since they're so in sync with each other and Eddie died and Venom resurrected him, they have this code in him that will release Knoll, who is nothing and everything and the beginning and the end and blah 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 blah. Just basically another excuse to amp up the ante of Venom and Eddie being tracked. I'm gonna call Venom Venom and Eddie Eddie because I am not gonna say symbiote for the rest of this video. And I love how this movie starts because first of all, Eddie is wearing Crocs. I think enough said. And Tom Hardy makes it look so fancy. Anyway, and Venom is hungry, so they're looking for food, which means bad guys, which means he goes into the darkest alley he can find, where there is people who let dogs go into dog fights. So already there, I am in. I'm like, kill them all. Do it. Eat them all. And there's the scene where Venom is there and Eddie is trying to be all mysterious and they're like, who are you? And he's like, I am. And then Venom is saying, Venom. And he's like, listen, we need to, be in sync. After they try to introduce each other to the bad guys, Venom then proceeds to eat these guys' heads in one go, which was so much fun. Also, the fight scene was so much fun. There's so much banter. I'm telling you, listen, you don't go and watch Venom because of the plotline. In comparison to Terrifier, was more entertaining than Terrifier 3. Indeed it was, because if there is explosions, if there is banter, if there is a massive, huge-ass creature that is dancing with a beautiful Mrs. Chan. There is a dance scene with Mrs. Chan. It's gorgeous. Anyway, so they're in Mexico, then they kind of go on a plane and they are followed by this xenophage. So every time that Eddie becomes Venom, like they kind of converge together, not when Venom is like coming out and just talking to him as a head, but more like when they converge into this Venom unison, that's when the tracker goes off and that's when the creatures can see him. Otherwise, if they're apart, the creatures can't see him.
Wait, what?
So, you can only see the Codex once he unifies with Venom. You cannot see the Codex if Eddie is just Eddie or if Venom is just, poking out of him from time to time or like doing a bit of that. So, they hang up to the airplane to go to New York because Eddie was like, listen, I know this judge and if I blackmail the judge, then he can make everything go away and then we can come back to the States because I'm done running. Okay. So they, as Venom, Unison, they hang onto the plane. The xenophage finds him, jumps onto the plane, and they obviously, Venom is like fish with sauce. I need to let go. We need to transform back into not being Venom because they can track me because of the Codex. So he lets the plane go. They crash into the desert, as we know then afterwards, in the vicinity of Las Vegas. And he somehow finds cowboy boots. I don't remember why he finds cowboy boots, but he does.
Okay.
I know now why he finds the cowboy boots. He gets the cowboy boots from one of the Mexicans. Is it in Mexico? I was pretty sure that it was in Mexico. Are they in Mexico? Yes. So he gets the cowboy boots from one of the Mexican asshats that were, forcing the dogs to fight each other. Yeah. So he gets them from there. Then he falls down from the plane after Venom becomes a, parachute. And then he floats down onto the desert and he loses one of the cowboy boots. Let me tell you, the story of his shoes is absolutely highly entertaining on its own. His feet are going through an entire story of their own, and he only has one cowboy boot, and then he stumbles across this, I'm gonna call them hippie family because that's what they are, kind of. He's trying to get his kids off grid. He's trying to visit Area 51 with his wife, and his wife is highly supportive, and they like to sing. It's very cringy, but actually not. It's very sweet. And then you have Tom Hardy going with his family. They're like, listen, we can't take you to New York, but we can take you to Las Vegas. And then you can go from there. And he was like, yeah, sure. I mean, why not, right? So they drive him to Las Vegas. The hippie guy is like, listen, we'll see each other again, blah, 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 blah. Here is some money. He's like, no, I can't. And he's like, yes, you can. And then he tries with these $20 to get into the casino, but he's wearing literally trash, so they obviously kick him out. Then there's this rich guy in a suit that is peeing on the pavement.
What are we doing?
We need a disguise.
Hey, man.
Whoa.
Why do you keep knocking people out?
They steal his clothes and enter the casino, and obviously lose all the entirety of $20 because Venom does not have the capacity to know what it's like to gamble, so he just loses everything on a slot machine. Obviously. And that's when they hear Mrs. Chen, because Mrs. Chen is also in this casino, and she's wearing a beautiful dress. She's won a lot of money, so the casino obviously updated her entirety, upgraded her to a suite, and she's like, come up with me to the suite and then we'll have some fun. And he's like, okay, why not, let's go. And then she's like, dance with me, and Venom is like, yeah, let's go dance. And Eddie's like, no, let's not dance. And he's like, why not, let's dance. And he's like, no, let's not dance, because then the xenomorphs will come. Xenophages. Who are xenomorphs? Aliens, right? Xenomorph. Oops. So the xenophages will find them, right? As we know, but Venom doesn't give a flying fish, so he transforms, becomes one with Eddie, and then they dance with Mrs. Chen, and it's so beautiful, and it's so fun, and it's so nice, and obviously the xenophages find him, and then he transforms back into Eddie, and blah, 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 and then they have to escape, and then the military that was anyway tracking them down, tracks them down, because they found them in the desert before. Sorry. So, and the military comes and captures them both after they had already tried to capture them in the desert. I forgot that one. They tried to capture them in the desert. Before he meets the hippy dippy family, they try to capture him in the desert. Because they're like, yeah, you killed the guy. That guy. Patrick Mulligan. So they figure out that if Eddie or Venom dies, the Codex dies too. The military that is trying to catch them. So obviously they want to kill one of the two. And they capture them once they're in Las Vegas with these kind of, sonar stuff that separates them so they can capture both individually. And Eddie wakes up in area 54? 54? Sure, let's go with 54. It's somewhere in area, area 51 is above and area 54 is below. At some point, they manage to get back together because the xenomorphs get into the area 54 underground. And at the same time, you have this hippie family who who obviously wanted to see the aliens, so they're in Area 51 and they're in the same place as Eddie, and everything explodes and there's a lot of explosions. And yes, there is also the side plot of the scientists, and that's where our beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Juno Temple comes in. And she's one of the scientists, and she has her own side plot, which hardly needs to be mentioned because, I mean, it's fine. She's there. I like her, but she doesn't add much to the story. Nerds, comment below if you have anything to add. Lots of explosions. Xenophages. Why did they call them xenophage? Why? Did you try and copy xenomorphs? Is that it? Is that what you wanted to do? Anyway, so they get to the xenophage. The xenophage gets to them, and there's more and more because Knull from the other world where he's stuck and he's like all, imprisoned, tries to capture the codex so that he can escape. And he sends more of these xenophages out, and there's a whole entire massive. Everyone becomes Venom. Because they obviously in Area 54 they have more of these, alienoid thingies, and then the scientists start touching them so that they can defeat the xenophages, and it doesn't work as it should because obviously it doesn't, but they try their best, which is fun to watch. Lots of stuff being blown up. Earlier, we see that in Area 51, to destroy Area 51, because they don't want any of the public anymore around, they have this acid rain kind of thing, but it's like a massive construction that just dumps acid on entire platforms and vehicles and just disintegrates them. So later on, now, Venom kind of figures out that he is the one who needs to die. Okay? He's the one who needs to save the planet. So he kind of starts embodying all these xenophages and just keeps venoming them in, and he drags them across the entire Area 51 in an effort, and you're like, oh shit, he's gonna do it, isn't he? He's gonna go, spoiler alert, into the acid dumpage, isn't he? And he drags himself to it, and all the xenophages are like, and he's like, no. And then Eddie's like, what are you doing? Don't do it. And he's like, I have to, for the greater good. And I was like, and then there's this huge, massive acid dump that's just, and he keeps having to do it, and then he kind of venoms the scientists so that, the face recognition still can, dump the acid on him, and it is so sad, and you watch it, and I was crying, and because I don't want Venom to die. It was too much fun, okay? I had 3 movies of a lot of fun, and yes, it's very flawed, and no, the storyline doesn't make a lot of sense. Who gives a flying fish, okay? Who gives a flying fish if the storyline makes any sense? The banter was fun, I was entertained, there was a lot of sweet, sweet moments and loving moments, and there's just this beautiful romance between this alienoid and Tom Hardy, and just mushing together and being all bantery and eating people's heads. It was just lovely to see, okay? That's it. And that's why I like the movie. I just liked the movie because it was a lot of fun, and there was a lot of explosions, and the special effects were there. They were there. Would I recommend you watch the movie? Yes. If you like Tom Hardy, if you like banter, if you like explosions and a lot of nothing, and Tom Hardy losing his shoes 3 times. Yeah, four times? He loses his shoes a lot of times. You're gonna like this movie. Highly recommend. Okay, bye.